everything that is wrong with you would have changed for the better. So, the pilgrim becomes one with those like him who have performed the Hajj before. It is true in many parts of the world, but it's very true in Africa and in Nigeria, and especially in Yoruba land. You know, pilgrim, Hajj means pilgrim, and you are actually an Alhaji when you are there, because you are on pilgrimage. But you know the fecundity of Yoruba language. Yoruba had come to confer on you a status that you can't get anywhere in the world. You have become an Alhaji and an Alhaja. It is a societal imposed position because they expect much from you. And it is also in recognition of the attainment of spiritual position you have gotten coming from Allah's house. So at the end of it all, the aberrant Alhaji is an embarrassment to himself. Aside from this, we have so many other benefits. For example, Hajj is the source of legitimacy to many Muslim states today, especially Saudi Arabia, because the regime and the states are intertwined. And because they are hosting the two holiest shrines of Islam, and they are spending so much to make it easy for the visitors of Allah, they derive their legitimacy. Then there is omnibalancing as far as Hajj is concerned. Because, for example, Saudi Arabian government uses Hajj or uses the hosting of the two shrines of Islam to do what? To balance internal pressure with external demands. This is in the area of defense, which we don't have time to elaborate here. Then Hajj has foreign policy connections. For example, you know that every state is tied to Saudi Arabia. There are states you may not recognize as a state. There are states you don't care whether they exist or not. But there is no state in the world today that will not have a connection with Saudi Arabia because its nationals sooner or later will visit Saudi Arabia. And it's even more so when you have very large Muslim population. So that at the end of it all, even states are involved in Hajj operation, and because they are involved in Hajj operation, their own operation must be tied with the Saudi Hajj operation. So, as far as foreign policy is concerned, there is no way any state will do without Saudi Arabia because of its hosting Hajj. Now let's look at the lessons for mankind from Hajj. The easiest way to evaluate Hajj as a source of lessons for mankind is to make sociological appraisal of the phenomenon called Hajj. Yusuf, 1994, is one sociologist, identifies some 9 separate interrelated theoretical bases of evaluating the phenomenon. And I want to elaborate on this. 1. Hajj is an agent of spiritual transformation and mass conversion. Spiritual transformation and mass conversion. Like we have said, the individual spiritual metamorphosis that comes to the pilgrim as a result of communion with other people in the course of Hajj. Moreover, Hajj has always been the most powerful instrument of the spread of Islam. Without going too far, in our own West Africa, there are so many states that were Muslim through the conversion of Hajj. When you talk of your old Ghana, when you talk of Songhai, but if you forget everything, you will remember Mali and Mansa Musa and his legendary visit to Hajj. So most often, you see the sovereign has been converted and he goes on Hajj, and when he comes out of loyalty, the whole community will be converted. Then 2, Hajj as socio-economic agents. There's socio-economic implication for Hajj. In Indonesia and in Africa, but generally in the world, the accomplished Hajj, that is the accomplished Alhaji, generally comes to be regarded with exceptional respect. And he exerts some measure of emulation from far and wide. Like I've said before, if you are an Alhaji, you are not expected to be poor. But rather than going to cut corners, what it means that if you are an Alhaji, and if actually it is money you want, ask for money, Allah will give you. But just say, Allah, give me halal money. Send helpers my way and so on. But it is expected, and look, let's look at it politically. You are an allergy. You dress respectively, and you have your skill. When you go anywhere to present a proposal, there's every possibility that they will say that this man is responsible and reliable. Let us give it to him. If you happen to be an allergy, it's even more. Because once you dress as a typical Muslim woman and an allergy, and your countenance shows that you are a respectable woman, you get it. And then with Allah's help, you get the money, if money is what you want. The idea is you have something going for you if you are an allergy or an allergy. Well, definitely there is a title, the allergy. And I think some people will pay any money to earn allergy or allergy. Anyway, we know also that when we go on Hajj, Hajj allows that after the ritual, you can trade. And it's one of the losses we have in this country that Nigeria and Saudi Arabia has since not signed any trade agreement between them. Even though Saudi Arabia was one of the first countries Nigeria recognized. But you know there is so much opportunity in the market of 4 million people in clothes, in honey, in so many other things, in spices. There are things Nigerians can sell in Saudi Arabia, not just bringing their wares to us. In fact, most of the things you bring from Saudi Arabia are not from Saudi Arabia. Pakistan, India, other people, when it comes to clothes. I always believe that if what I'm wearing is well packaged and you get a shop there with somebody there, we will sell a lot there. This has been shown from studies. So there are implications for economic relations in Hajj. Then let's look at the political implications of Hajj. Ideologies and practices picked up in the course of pilgrimage gave rise to jihad movements in Africa. In fact, I can assure you when Britain colonized Africa, especially in Nigeria, they were concerned during the period when you had the Mahdi movement in the Sudan. Because Nigerians tried to Hajj, they will pass through the Sudan before they get to Saudi Arabia, to and fro. And there was fear. It's in many reports. Lentner, Tombstone, Palmer, all of them, that they were afraid of the ideas the pilgrims we picked from Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, and that it's problematic for them. In other words, there is this wealth of research that has shown that most of the jihad of the 19th century especially were fueled by the experiences of pilgrims on pilgrimage. Definitely. You know also that contemporary time, Hajj sponsorship is the in thing. Governments do it, individuals do it, and definitely it has its political ramification. For example, returning client pilgrim is expected to be morally and politically committed to the patron and so on. Let's look at Hajj as instrument of reciprocity and publicity. Gifts to intending pilgrims also is followed by gifts that the pilgrim gives to the people when he comes. Well, I think it is natural and it is traditional. When somebody is going on Hajj, he has his money, but you say, I give you this for your passage. Even if it's 1 riyal that it takes to drink cold water when the heat was on, he will remember to pray for you. Even if he does not say it, the Spirit will pray for you. And it's very likely when he comes back, he will say, take something, even if it's bad. And it has it's a reciprocity. It also legitimizes and publicly proclaims one's accession to the status of the new person we talk about. And definitely, Hajj is a way of circulating material, either by gift or by sale. You know that immediately they come from Hajj. You will see, when you get to Lagos Island, you see material coming and you want to wonder whether you are in Mecca or Medina. Now let us look at Hajj as mode of communication and exchange. Hajj as a mode of communication and exchange. The Hajj institution, like we have said, is an old institution, and it has a fundamental process by which messages, goods, and services, and in fact personnel, are constantly circulated from one community to the other. Some of these things will take a long time to elaborate, but we know that the business trips, pilgrimage, plus business trips or plus diffusion of knowledge allows for diffusion of ideas. When you go on Hajj, it's true you are busy doing your rituals and then you're in the market mind. You see scholars are meeting while you are on Hajj, rubbing shoulders, exchanging ideas, and germinating ideas around the world. And you know it is idea that actually distinguishes us from other human beings. Then Hajj has right the passage or liminal phenomenon. Apparently, the act of going to Mecca, especially for the first time, can be visualized as a sort of initiation ceremony, by which the incumbent has a ritual transmission and social transformation that makes him emerge as a new person. And then let's look at Hajj, at communitas and integrative process. It is through Hajj that all pilgrims organize and discipline themselves into a new social system of religious beliefs that is polarized between big city and travel, secular and sacred. In other words, when you go on Hajj, there is this natural bond among pilgrims. Even though for the convenience of operation, we are still distinguished as from Nigeria, from Mali, from Canada. But if you reflect on your first, if you go on Hajj for the first time and you get to Jeddah, you see this bond among group of pilgrims. If you go to Muna, if you get to Arafah, there's this bond of being together. Even though it's an individual thing as ritual, it is also something that binds you together. And this type of boundary even comes with you. That is why you come to Nigeria, you say, Allah Rafa Amin, that you still reminiscing on your togetherness while you are on Hajj. And it definitely helps you as you are counseled in these gatherings to exercise social virtue of patience and calmness. Let's listen to Malcolm X and the effect of Hajj on him. You know, Malcolm X was one man that shows that man cannot be confined to the morals he finds himself. Through self-education and self-knowledge, he rose to become perhaps a professor, I can say. And he changed something in the geography of social America. But you know, it was the nation of Islam with their own perverse black supremacy as a counteraction to the white supremacy of the American society. And he has so many speeches that attack this, so that you can say that perhaps he himself was a racist. But when he now went on Hajj, he had an experience that changed him. And Allah knows best that we lost a lot, that he was killed soon after. As he said, all ate as one and slept as one. Everything about the pilgrimage atmosphere accented the oneness of man under one God. Never have I witnessed such sincere hospitality and the overwhelming spirit of true brotherhood as is practiced by people of all colors and races. That is in autobiography published 1966, pages 330 and 339. And that experience that Malcolm X had is corroborative of Quran chapter 2 verse 197 that says, whosoever undertakes the hard obligations, he should not indulge in obscenities, wicked acts, or wrangling during the hard season. And whatever good ye do, be sure Allah knoweth it. And take a provision with you for the journey. But the best of provisions is right conduct. So fear me, O ye that are wise. فَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ تَقْوَى فَاتَّقُونِي يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. So this is Hajj for you. And definitely by the time all of you don the ihram garments and all of you perform the Hajj, you see that you become one in brotherhood of Islam. And definitely, I know many of you have made friendship during Hajj that had lasts for years. There are points when my mom went on Hajj, above 70, went with my sister, and they finished the aside, and she was thirsty. And And you know the water was everywhere, they did not know. Then there was one German woman sitting after the nafla. She just looked at the old woman and handed her a bottle of water, and she drank it. Then she indicated where Zamzam water was. And she continues to say it 5 years after, that I wish I can see that woman or I can call that woman. There are points when you make friends and it lasts forever. And for those of you that are business-minded, I believe such contacts can even give you opportunity for international business. So, when you look at Hajj, it has this very great potential. I believe most of us know that the Tijaniya movements in Nigeria and in fact in West Africa came actually as a bond of friendship that developed between Sheikh Ibrahim Kaulahi and the former Emir of Kano, Al-Hajj Lamido Muhammad Sanusi. So the idea is there are so many things that have happened in this country, that are happening all over the world, that have been enshrined by Hajj. Then finally, or very finally, Hajj as instruments of individual mobility and ethnic diaspora. You know, one of the problems of society that is not well organized is when there is not social mobility. That you are born there, you live there, you die there. But in a society where you have opportunities, the society will definitely progress. So Hajj engenders ethnic diaspora. You know, Hausas, Fulanis, Kanuris, and Yorubas, they are generally dispersed all over West Africa and even all over Africa. And most of them staying behind after Hajj. And the idea is they make communities in these places, and it means there can be contact between us and them if we explore it, and there is opportunity for solving some of our economic problems in this country. So at the end of it all, it gives African Muslims a conception of Islam as a world religion. And don't forget, many people actually went on Hajj and they don't decide to come back. I remember my sister, when we got to Kaaba and we were to move down to Medina, and she was looking back. I said, let us go. And I said, we are going to leave Kaaba behind. I said, you have to leave Kaaba behind. I didn't know that I had not seen anything. When we got to Medina, after the whole thing, we had to leave, and the last night in Masjid al-Nabi, and I saw this woman crying, like she didn't want to. I said, what is your problem? She said, we are going to leave Muhammad back here. I said, look, this man had 11 wives when he was alive. So you cannot even marry him. He said, look, it does not matter. If it is possible, I would have loved to be 1001 wife. But it's not just about wife. We are to leave Muhammad back. It was a sincere feeling of, and I'm sure you know that if you are praying in Medina, and especially if you are outside the mosque, and the Imam is reciting the Quran, you're feeling like was how Muhammad was reciting the Quran for the Sahaba. And then you feel like Muhammad was here. And then you feel like, so we have to leave Muhammad behind. It is a bond across millennia. And it is something that nobody can rob you of. It's an experience uniquely your own. So that at the end of it all, you know that whatever difficulties encountered on Hajj, pilgrims return home with a sense of brotherhood of Islam. Many of the pilgrims always have a desire to go back to the Holy Land if they cannot stay back. And this has always left some indelibly remarkable impressions on those who visit. And finally, please, Chairman, Hajj operation and administration. One of the major challenges of Hajj operation in Nigeria is government involvement and the ineptitude of Hajj officials. But we have a big lesson in the prudence of the Saudi Arabian government and the discipline with which they organize Hajj. They face challenges too. But the government, actually, if you care to know, government paralyzes during Hajj for them in Saudi Arabia. And don't forget that they are also concerned about your welfare, as they are concerned that you don't bring some funny ideas that can cause insurgency in their country. That is actually why your passport must be seized, so to speak. And you know Nigerians, we like to disappear into other countries. So one lesson for us is to make Nigeria a better place. so that people will know want to vote with their feet. So that people will go on Hajj, they want to come back to share the Rahman and Sakina with us. And if they have opportunity, well organized, they can go back. But more than anything else, thank God we are having better situation. But you know, Hajj has always been a source of embarrassment to this country. So at the end of it all, we have something to learn. And Nigerians also can learn something. And that is the commitment required for successful operations. Sometimes it's the pilgrims themselves that cause problem for the operation. But above all, as the government is sacrificing there, even the people are sacrificing. Many of the houses you live in belong to citizens that use the houses ordinary days. But during high period, they go to the villages so that there can be opportunities for pilgrims. I think we can have this type of generosity of heart as a people in this country so that at the end of it all, we have a better society. Because like I like to say, Nigeria is good enough. Nigeria is blessed enough. Nigeria is rich in natural and human resources. Nigeria's human capital is wonderful, but the government must learn to be responsible and responsive. A situation where Nigerian governments, both federal and state, refuse to spend money on education is not good. The Asian countries are making it better today, not because they have better human capital than Nigeria, but they are spending 40% of their budgets on education. UNESCO asked for 26%. Nigerian government had never gone beyond 13. Now we are less than 6. And we want to be one of the most, the first 20 economies in 2020. Mere 8 years ago, away. We are dreaming. It will not happen unless and until we invest on the future of the youth of this country. Another way, Nigerians will go to India for operations today, especially kidney transplants. Thank God for the third world. Very recently, people with degrees from India are looked down upon in this society. But India had gone a long way. They became independent in 1947, we became independent in 1960. We knew the time, during the reign of Indira Gandhi, when they were even going into castration for their men, because there are too many and there was so much poverty. But today they are better. China is better. But that is not the point. But we should notice that people that are 1.2, 1.6 billion are doing it right. What is wrong with us less than 200 million? But above all, when our doctors go to India to perform for kidney transplants, they've done their own overall and they do the operation together. Or sometimes they ditch the operation. In other words, we have the expertise. It is the machineries we don't have. It's a shame to this country. And it will be a shame to us as a people if we cannot ask those who are ruling us some questions. It is what they do and our appreciation of what they do that matters, not that some people outside Nigeria are giving them commendation. It is the commendation of Nigerians. If anybody gives you commendation out of your home and your wife and children cannot give you commendation, you are a failure as a father and husband. In conclusion, we should note that Hajj is a universal institution, drawing in all and sundry to its orbits. It enhances mutual respect, brotherliness, and individual and collective mutual acceptability. Hajj is very crucial to the legitimacy of many regimes in the Muslim world today. It is the biggest proof of the relevance of Islam to international relations. It cements people, especially during its season. Hajj pilgrimage, like all pilgrimages, has made humanity better, and its economic potential cannot be overemphasized. May it please the Almighty Allah to make this year's Hajj and Hajj throughout the world a very easy venture for our pilgrims, and to give us, even those that will be back at home, all the blessings of the Hajj season, and help our country by giving us the Rahman, to know that it is only Allah that can do it, so that we change for better and our country will change for better. And may it please the Almighty Allah to make the companion, the criterion, and all the Muslim societies and associations, the entire Muslim Ummah around the world, to be better communities that Allah has made them, and then to be shining examples to change the morals of our society. Assalamu alaikum.
Once again, for our brother. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.
One, this issue of I'm happy you go regularly. This issue of language barrier. You go to Medina, you observe your Jumat. They will say the sermon in Arabic. You get to Mecca, they will say the sermon in Arabic. You are distressed. You want to talk to a policeman there or one of the health officials. There is this language barrier, and they seem not to be apologetic about it. I see that the kind of interest to so many people going on Hajj. What is the solution? Two, this issue of poverty among Nigerian Muslims and the amount of money we spend to perform Hajj or perform lesser Hajj, which many people see as not being compulsory. You see some people going to lesser Hajj every year. Some people go to Hajj almost every year. And yet, they also have high level of poverty among Muslims. How do you relate it? Those who go to lesser Hajj, they tell you they have renewed experience and renewed faith. And yet, they have a Muslim who cannot afford to trade with 100,000 naira beside you as your neighbor, as your friend, as your relation. The third question I want to ask is, it has to actually do with most of us in government. You see local government chairmen, governors, sending people on Hajj. And yet, there is infrastructural deficit at home, of which, if you are able to even cure it, or you are able to assist, more Muslims will even benefit. Because I know it's you Muslims that cannot afford to send our children to private schools. It's Muslims that cannot afford to enjoy high medical excellence and all the rest. So, what do you do as a Muslim in government, and you have access to public funds, and you met this tradition there of sending people on Hajj with public funds? No Christians do it too, but it's more prominent with Muslim government or even with practice in the government. The last one I just want to add, okay, is the experience of individuals too. You see individuals being sent on Hajj, and they have personal financial problems that they would have well used the money on. They are going to spend on Hajj for their problems. There is this dilemma whether they should convert or ask their sponsor to give them this money for their business rather than going to Hajj, or whether it is more beneficial to go on Hajj and live the business aspect of your life and leave it to Allah to solve for you by going on Hajj and leaving the other problem of finance to Allah when you get to Hajj. Those are just my questions. Once again, I want to thank you for a well-researched lecture.
It's not a question per se. I just want to address the point of our lecturer, sir. One, on Salat. In 1980, I was working with an European in Apapa, and when it's 2 o'clock, I will say, excuse me ma'am, I want to go to toilet. And I will go behind to have my Salat. Unfortunately, that woman, she's a Briton. She's a colleague with the late Sister Gideon's forget the father. So he now met me at the corner. Say, Richard, what are you doing here? Say, excuse me, ma, I'm praying. Say, exports. Come and pray in my room. That was 1980 for you. Second one is my first Hajj in 1985. All my sisters will know that I never tell them that I'm going to live in Saudi Arabia. I just tell them in 1985, I was 24 years old. Thank God, my husband is a Morkasi and he's staying there. I told them I'm going on Hajj. Whereas I have a hidden agenda. When I got to Aram, I say, oh Allah, I want to live in your house. Do you know that a miracle happened? Immediately I leave Aram, I saw Brother Mustafa Ridwan. He's a friend to late Brother Ayomaya. I just saw him when he was this is that guy, you know what I mean? When you was actually, Nigeria, you got it from there. Put here, we love our call me. But no, come together with us. We are looking for a secretary in Riyadh. Do you know that I used Nigeria ticket to Riyadh? And I lived in Riyadh for 3 years. I remember Union Bank of Nigeria, they will never forget me. especially one MP like this, is a Christian guy in 1983. Mommy wa kan Alhaji Hasan Master Yaku